a very warm welcome. Thanks for tuning in to News 9 Live. India's space program, from that little hamlet in Kerala, today India and its space program has taken quantum leaps. None to say, from a small church where a team of scientists that did not even have instruments to carry out the right kind of scientific experiments. You can see the picture over there, how that a portion of the rocket is being put on the backside of a cycle, and it was taken to the launching site, and from there that small church, that small fishing hamlet in Kerala, in Thiruvananthapuram, the first launch took place, and from there it seems like sky has not been the limit. Space is not the final, it's the next frontier, and India certainly hasn't really looked back. Ladies and gentlemen, today we're embarking on a space odyssey of our own. Today, even as we look ahead to the successful landing of Chandrayaan-3 and the myriad of possibilities it's going to open up for India, it's important that we look back as well. It's important that we look back, connect the dot in retrospect, and take a trip down memory lane. Sarabhai, J. Baba, those stalwarts and big names that have done so much for India's space program. We're going to trickle down through the exact steps that took us from what happened in that small little church in Kerala, where simple plain sheets of asbestos kept on two wooden piles would make up for a desk, and that itself was the first launching site and the lab as well, to what we have today. ISRO, a reliable name. PSLV, a reliable name. Our Chandrayaan missions, our Mars orbiter, you name it, well, we've done it in half the budget and with the right kind of technology that many in the world today can say has been absolutely spot on. But before we talk about all of that, our very esteemed set of guests with us on the show today, and I'd of course love everybody to get down in the comment section, because it's important that you become part of this cosmic journey as well. Even as we're looking towards Chandrayaan-3, making that successful landing, India only becoming the fourth country on this planet to successfully soft land on the dark side of the moon. Help us with your opinions. If there's a story that you know, what's your moon story? Let us know in the comment sections down below. Also, if you've got any questions, we've got panelists, experts with us on the show today. Group Captain V.N. Jha, Senior Scientist, Aerospace and Joint Director for the DRDO. Always a pleasure to be speaking with you, sir. Absolutely. Dr. B.K. Tyagi, Scientist and Principal Scientific Officer, Vigyan Prasar, Government of India. He's also with us on the show. I'm going to quickly first go across to Group Captain V.N. Jha. Now, Group Captain, you and I have been talking about Chandrayaan for the longest time. Your commentary is so renowned in this particular space as well. But before we talk about the Mangalyaan, before we talk about Chandrayaan 1, 2, 3, before we talk about the reliability of PSLV, let's take a trip back in memory lane. Let's take a trip down that little hamlet, that fishing hamlet in Kerala. What is your opinion? Throw some light on what it was like back in the day. The amount of steps we've taken so far in our space odyssey, our space journey. What was it like back then? Sarabhai and J. Homi Baba with peanuts to work with, and at a time when there was a Cold War going on and a lack of funds, and Sarabhai took funds from the United States and the USSR, two dissenting sides amid a Cold War, to launch our first spectacle up in space. What was that like? And it has been so inspiring. Throw some light on that, sir.
Well, Kabir, thank you very much for having me here, and I'm really pleased to be along with your viewers who will be interacting with us today. You put us back to the memory line rather, I will call it, where nostalgia also prevails. I had visited first time the ISRO in Kerala. It was I was doing my post graduation in 1982-83. That is the time I had visited VSS, our ISRO research center there. And what I had seen it that time and what I see today, it's a sea of change. But then, I belong to a generation where people haven't seen the electricity, haven't seen the telephone, leave the mobile out of it. And today, those things are essential part of our lives. We couldn't have thought of, even during my space passion, that the ISRO, through its satellite, will be part of our daily life, whether it is telecommunication, whether it is television, whether it is distant education, and even the agriculture sector, mineralogy, earth sciences that is being explored today from the space. All this we couldn't have thought of. And everyone at that time felt that whatever little bit of money was being spent could be a waste. Just like today, people are talking of why should we spend so much of time, so much of money on space. Look, the investment onto the science never goes waste. It always pays you dividend in some form or the other. And that is what we are seeing today. And for all your viewers, the entire Indian nation, I'll suggest that please don't question whatever little bit of investment is being made onto the space sector. It's the minimum that a nation of 1.4 billion should be doing it. We should, in fact, invest more. It is never a waste. Every investment has got two exponential features of space sector. One is the verticals, another is the horizontal. The horizontal sector will yield you the commercial values of all this investment, whether whatever form it is there, and the verticals will always add on to your technology. This is something that is a feature of today, reality of today. And when you are asking with the memory lane, first time I remember, when we were born, we first knew that the Indian National Committee for the Space Research was part of TIFR in the DAE at that time. Thereafter, we had seen how US also had helped India and the ISRO through the first sounding rocket. It played a significant part. And then the journey started, how all the launches happened, all SLV's program happened. SLV-3 was a major success that we had seen. And then everything is the history. Today, ISRO is capable of launching almost about to the tune of 8 to 9 tons of the payload, though it is not significant when we compare with the world powers, but still it is significant. We have to go. So, salute to ISRO, salute to the dedication of the ISRO scientists. What we see today happening on the lunar orbit is all their prowess, and it will only further refine in the coming months and the years.
Absolutely, and more than that, Group Captain Jab, in the coming couple of hours as well, because the countdown has begun. We're looking at just a couple of hours before, it's not days or months anymore. It's just a couple of hours before we finally look at the successful soft landing of Chandrayaan-3. Dr. B.K. Tyagi with us, Principal Scientific Officer for Vigyan Prasar, with us on the show as well. Sir, in your opinion, the humble beginnings, would you like to throw some light on that as well? Because that's going to be our focus. Before we talk about all the Yans, Gaganyaan, Mangalyaan, Chandrayaan, let's talk about our humble beginnings. How inspiring are those?
Dr. Jha has just explained the journey of ISRO, and now you can imagine when the time when we were just thinking about doing a space and understanding the atmosphere beyond the space beyond the atmosphere. That was the one time a humble beginning was made in 70s with the Aryabhatta, Bhaskar, Rohini series and all that. And now look at this was a time when the space race was already at its peak between Russia and America, and Russia was already into the space. They were already landed on the moon itself, and we were at that time we were just thinking of that. And now look at the today's scenario. Now Russia want to compete with us. I'm not saying that it is as a scientist I should not say, but there is an undercurrent to that now. Our program, like on 23rd, we were supposed to land on the south pole of moon, but before that, they because they have a better technology and heavy, the engine which they can travel faster than what because we use the gravitational pull of moon and earth to send our the propulsion module to the desired orbit. They did it in a very small time, but I think in haste when the we yesterday only we have inducted our propulsion sorry, the Vikram into our desired orbit already,
Right.
which in Russia was slightly, because it was all automatic system and there was some miscalculation and it was went into a wrong orbit, and after that it was not trace out, or it did not could be contacted, and finally it crashed into the the moon surface. So look at this scenario, and our achievement is great, very inspiring. The time when we started, the Russia and America was already the hero in space science, and since then our journey since 70s until date, I think now we are going to be the first over. But no doubt we have learned a lot from our Chandrayaan-2 missions, the partial failure. This time everything is foolproof. It has been designed because the this is something unexplained, unexplored area. So no, it's not only the Russian this moon mission has failed, but if you see the Israel, Japan, also China has successfully landed, on the other side of the moon. But now the question of landing, doing the soft landing on the southern part, this will be creating a record. It will be
Right.
establishing the perfection of our technology, our technological excellence, and also in terms of the collecting data and collecting more information. As you know, this ocean is it has a strategic importance also now in for future for launching in the interplanetary mission from
Absolutely. I mean,
that will be the
Dr.
very
Tyagi,
ideal,
India's lunar
point.
ambitions have been made
Besides,
clear from the very start. India's
besides
lunar ambitions have been made clear from the very start. What my idea is that we stick a little bit to the early beginnings from that church in Kerala. There are a lot of quirky tidbits about that little church. How the pastor also made way for gave room to the scientists to work there. There was a lot of protest from the people over there, especially Christians that were worshippers in that particular church. The pastor gave way for the church, to delegate a room for this rocket launch to take place. Apart from that, the magnetic qualities of that, the position of the church. Group Captain Jha, would you like to throw some light on that? There's some, mystery about the magnetic properties of that land. What's all that about? You'll have to unmute yourself. Group Captain.
Sorry. Wherever we are today, there is a path that we have covered, whether it is ISRO or whether it is every person of India, even that church should be in the history, because it has made that contribution of giving that space to ISRO, which didn't have at that time. And whatever has been done, whether the payload at that time has traveled on the cycles, I have photograph of that also, or anything else. So it's a journey. And what I have seen during my, specialization period of very early 80s, and subsequently we had seen how the developmental launch of Rohini, that was SLV-3, was a successful. That has happened.
Right.
In the 90s, we have seen the beginning of commercial ventures also. Many of the PSLVs have been launching the foreign satellite, earning the very, very precious foreign currencies. 2008, we have seen Chandrayaan-1 going down there. We have seen Mangalyaan in 2013. And thereafter, the journey, it's a complete series of it. And I praise Government of India that in the last few years, they have created the space for the others, the private ventures also to come into it, either it is through the in-space or other ventures. So all those things are going on, and it's a reality today that ISRO is a known power in the space sector, and many people, they will come to India, to the ISRO, for launching their satellite. As of today, I believe about 1,200 satellites are ready for the launching. And we should not be surprised if another PSLV or another GSLV-3, it takes 36 satellites or something akin to that into space to do the commercial venture or the other. But as far as the India is concerned, I praise ISRO in one small thing, that every flight it has made, it gains some amount of additional scientific information, another scientific experimentation, whether on the technologies mostly. So that is one thing great that the India does and ISRO does, and I salute ISRO for this. That
So
wherever
basically,
they are
keep
today,
taking on that next step forward. Keep taking on that next step forward. Group Captain Jha, you spoke about PSLV and GSLV, and who's with us on the panel. Dr. Tyagi, PSLV as a machine, as a launch vehicle, has become one of the most reliable of launch vehicles, not just in India, in the planet. I mean, you've got some of our foreign collaborators who've, their satellites, be it the IRS, be it the INSAT. I mean, India has put out so many satellites up there, and PSLV is that one reliable name. It's got the name of, if I'm wrong, please correct me, but I think it's called the ISRO's workhorse. I mean, what's so great about the PSLV, Dr. Tyagi? But Dr. Tyagi, are you getting our question?
Yeah. Can you repeat the question, because your voice was interrupted in between? If you can.
Well, we're all talking about the PSLV, the magnanimity, the reliability of the PSLV. Today, it's one of the stock names when it comes to putting your satellite up there. And India is doing it not just for India, for everybody else as well. What is so special about the PSLV?
Because I think for both, not PSLV, for GSLV also, I think we have established our credibility in launching, the 104 satellite in one time. So the reliability of this PSLV and GSLV is proved beyond doubt. Even this time also, this we call this GSLV, on which this our orbiter has been launched. We call it a Bahubali, because the word has come from that film Bahubali. So because of the payload and the total weight of that which it has, and it can carry into the geostationary orbit of the Earth, which was within 16 minutes. Our this propulsion module was installed there. So I think in launching vehicle, I think we have already achieved a niche. And not only that, if we look at the economic part of that, I think we are the cheapest in the world. So in future also, this service of satellite launching service, I think many of the country, even the developed country, will come to us because of the cost factor. Because launching a space mission or launching a satellite, the cost is very high. If you look at the America, because Russia, we don't have the data, but America and the other countries. So as compared to that, the technological reliability, the cost factor, I think we have already achieved our niche so far as our both launching vehicles are concerned.
Well, absolutely. That's very eloquently put, that we have achieved our own niche, and India really has it. But these visuals of payloads being carried across on bullock carts, a little small payload on the back of a bicycle. I mean, there is nostalgic properties to these visuals, isn't it? Group Captain Jha, do you have some stories that you'd like to share with the viewers? Some interesting, funny anecdotes about where we've come, this small step that now looks like a quantum leap?
Yes, we have to go back to the memory line. And there, of course, I told you, we have been fortunate to see the quantum leap in the technology. There was a period when there was no telephone, no electricity. I told you about that. And today, it's the necessity of the life. I mean, it is the basic provisioning of human activity, human dailies, if we can call it, that you can't do away with this. And as I see, that the small payload, that was the payload for the sounding rocket being carried on the cycle. Yes, that was a type of thing that we had, and it's a reality. When we talk of economy and everything, that it is a money saving here, It was a reality before 2014. Even in 2014, our economy was just about $1.7 trillion. And you go back to the 70s or 60s, there was hardly anything for investing onto this the imaginative project. At that time, it was a key project, and we had hardly any funds. That is, India was there. Today, as on today, we are almost about $4 billion economy, $4 trillion economy. So we should talk slightly less on the being miser onto the space technologies. If there is a need to invest, please do invest. It will pay us off in the long run, rather than exposing us to the fail. Again, I repeat this in another way. Right now, our satellite goes to the Earth's parking orbit and then keeps on doing that sling operation for the orbit raising. You should not be doing this. The challenges of the space. There is one article that yesterday morning I had written. It is on the magazine called The Counter Views. It gives you the secrets of the surprises in Chandrayaan-3, and it doesn't relate only to Chandrayaan-3. It relates to every satellite that we are sending, whether to the space or to the moon or anywhere else. It tells you those uncertainties that the payload is subjected to. You remember, yesterday also I had mentioned to you when Dr. Salumurthy was there. There are the high velocity protons, neutrons in the space which can pass through and through the entire payload. And in that venture, what damages it inflicts, it is unimaginable. So why should we, predispose the entire payload to this for so many days when it is doing the just sling operation? Not needed. As on today, we can invest more, we can apply more. Yes, India has got a constraint onto the two spatial areas in the space. One is the launch vehicle. Our right now limitation of the capability is 8 tons. It must go to about 20 tons or 25 tons. That is the minimum that India should have. So that is one area. And second is, of course, the technology that is innovating itself in every generation. So that technology is evolving. ISRO to some extent has already come at the World Forum when it is matching the quantum jump in the technology. But that is, a ever growing step of the technology. It will continue getting updated every now and then. So there I compliment ISRO where we are, and there I recommend that there is change in the mindset of being miser. You don't have to be miser in the space technologies.
Well, for that anecdote, Group Captain Jha, there's somebody in the comment section who's saying thank you, sir. And I'm going to again implore, people in the comment section to really get down and ask your questions to our experts who are with us. And if there's any moon story of yours that you'd like to share, do go ahead and do that. Now, whilst we're talking about PSLV, GSLV, Dr. Tyagi, let's also talk about the payloads. And when we're talking about payloads, we have to talk about Lunar 25 as well. It has crashed. A lot of Indians were happy about it also, but let's not take anything away from Roscosmos. USSR has been at the pinnacle of space technology and space agency technology. But whilst we're comparing these two agencies, a lot of people have put out articles saying that there's a lot of vanity and corruption in the Roscosmos. There's weak management that has spoiled, delayed, or even shelved some space missions. Do you think India's administration, the ISRO, everything's all good at that front in terms of our management at ISRO? We saw those videos, former chief, K. Sivan crying and the Prime Minister, consoling him right after Chandrayaan-2 as well. Very emotional, visuals. And you can't forget those. So in terms of management, would you like to throw some light on how smoothly does the ISRO function as well, from what it was back in the day to then, Nehru and Sarabhai making up a completely new agency, that coming under the Department of Atomics under J. Homi Bhabha, and today finally ISRO?
Yeah, because I think if you look at the whole thing from the very beginning, we got a 100% government support for our space program, and this is the reason why we have achieved. As I told you in the beginning, when we started, compared to America and Russia, they were already already Bahubali of space science at that time, and we were just thinking. And you have shown the picture taking that our first satellite on the bullock cart and
Right.
on the vehicle and doing everything on the church. From there, we have reached to that state. Now, even a space power like Russia want to compete. He want like he should reach before us on the because they want to be the first. Unfortunately, it could not happen. But I think if you look at where the our Chandrayaan-3, the entire thing, if you look at it, has been the all modification or updation, revising the algorithm, the software hardware part is based on our failure model, if I should say. So there was a lot of learning from that Chandrayaan 2, and I don't think Russia started only after 50 years, because Chandrayaan Lunar 25. So Lunar 25, it almost there was a lot of gap. So maybe they could not update or say overconfidence sometime, because you say yes, we have already done it at this time, it's not difficult, we'll do that. So they are good because of they have a very powerful a launching vehicle, which the distance which we covered in 42 days, they have covered in 10 days. And instead of 5 round boosting and deboosting, like we did 10 rounds, 5 boosting and then again deboosting, kind of thing, bringing the our Vikram into the desired orbit. From there it will have a free fall when it will be on its own taking all decision, and it is fully equipped with AI and other equipments, where
Absolutely.
it will be guided. So I think this kind of homework was lacking, because there was some overconfidence, I should say, because on the part of because it was the system which they were having was automated, and the orbiter, which the satellite, sorry, the lander, which was
Right.
supposed to be into a desired orbit, it deviated, and after that it was never recovered and fall flatly on the surface of the moon. So that means those steps which we have very meticulously has crossed yesterday also, like bringing to the nearest orbit our Vikram. Those parts, those preparation, I feel shows the picture. What the question you have asked, I don't have to comment on that personally, because then it will be too personal. And also look at even the last time our Prime Minister was there, the picture which you are showing, that shows the concern, the solidarity with the program, with the scientific community,
Absolutely. And this
and
is
the
after the
entire
Prime Minister
nation. You
had
can
left
see
and
the
he came
enthusiasm.
back. The Prime Minister comes
So
back
this
to hug the chief.
all the best wishes of the entire nation. I think this was all, which I think in Russia it may be like for a record creating or record making they were doing it, but it was like a space program of
Dr.
ours,
Tyagi, Dr. Tyagi,
which
you
yeah.
could have just said that I've asked a rhetorical question. There is no point in debating the fact that India's trajectory when it comes to space agency is only upwards and onwards. You could have saved all of us some time, but very eloquently put and pertinent points raised over there, sir. Group Captain Jha, India's space program is not just about technology. It's also about international collaboration. It's about countries coming together. Tell the viewers about how India has been that linchpin when it comes to connecting space with other countries as well. Today, a lot of foreign countries look up to India to send their satellite up in the air.
See, Kabir, what happens? Every design scientist has a passion. When Mr. Sivan had tears in his eyes, most of us, when any design scientist, I'm telling you, when I was one of the project leader in a small life support technology, and when we were testing that equipment in a wind tunnel, I'm telling you some other story. In the wind tunnel at 600 knots, everything blew off, and I remained speechless on the desk where the test was going on. for minutes, and people came around me. He says, "Sir, forget about it." I said, "No, there is no failure in the science, in the R&D. There is never a failure. Everything teaches you something. Everything is a lesson." So I had gathered from there, and then subsequently we again redesigned the entire thing. The failure, everyone is talking of the present Chandrayaan is on the failure mode, unless every critical equipment that we develop during the design state, we carry out one FMECA. Your viewers must know about it. FMECA, that is the failure mode effects and criticality analysis. And this is a must. In this, we come to know what are the components, and it is being done by independent agency. Usually, we involve IIT Kharagpur for this, but this is independent agency who carries out this FMECA. They tell us that in that entire design, what are the components, what are the subsystems that may fail, and if that fails, what is the effect going to be, and to have the redundancy, automated redundancy built into it, what do we have in that particular system that can immediately come forward and give the assistance to the performance that it is supposed to be. This FMECA is a part of our life, and when we do all these things, day in and day out, there are several nights that we spent sleepless just thinking of one small thing, that what is there to be done. No, we don't copy technologies mostly. I'm giving you my own experience. We hate to copy any design from anywhere. We would like to have our own mindset, something onto which subsequently we will continue building on. And that is where ISRO comes. ISRO flew its Chandrayaan-3, took the picture of the South Pole where the water was supposed to be there. Chandrayaan-2 was the advancement onto Chandrayaan-1 in the same area. Chandrayaan-3 is almost also on the same line. It is going to the same area to land there. So these are the way how we carry out the R&D. Now, as far as you asked me how we built up, how the corporations are there. Look, you should never be reinventing the wheel. That is the task of today. If something had been done by any other agency anywhere in the world, you should try to cooperate with them, have the cooperation with them, and you should try to, develop onto it, add onto it what they have. And that is where this cooperation comes. When today, the last month, PM Modi has gone to USA, where he has signed MOUs with NASA. He has signed you with other agencies, MOUs. That will certainly come to the aid of it. We already had Gaganyaan project, and now when Artemis project MOU has been signed by India and USA,
right.
Please, our own astronaut will be in the moon or in the deep space explorations. They will be there, and it's a great thing. So it's always a build on in the technology, that whenever there's
Rakesh Sharma, Group Captain Jha, Rakesh Sharma, and to Dr. Tyagi as well, just some information. Indian astronaut Rakesh Sharma was part of a joint manned mission between India and the Soviet Union back in 1984. He spent 8 days on board the Russian space station Salyut 7, making him the only Indian national to date to ever go to space. Well, unfortunately, it couldn't happen for Kalpana Chawla. Well, we all know that took a very awry turn. But India has sent its first citizen in space, and very soon again the Artemis that you're talking about, and Lupex with Japan as well. So things certainly looking bright on that forefront. Dr. Tyagi, let's put ourselves in the shoes of Sarabhai, of J. Homi Bhabha, and let's try and understand, when they're looking at ISRO from above, down below on ISRO, do you think they're happy with what ISRO has achieved?
Of course, because I think that was the dream which they have, or you can say the development which they have anticipated. Because we made a small beginning, because at that time we were not having, the atmospheric science or earth science as such. So the subject was started, and now if you look at our journey from that phase to we are making our own satellite, we are making our own launching vehicle, we are sending our satellite, now we are working on the Gaganyaan, we are studying on with Aditya, the more on sun. So all these things there was already an anticipation, but at that time we had a resource constraint, the enough manpower, technical manpower was not there. But now I think we have the second largest human resources in science and technology after, I think, China or USA, I don't know exactly. So, and also a very good infrastructure in science and technology, the huge chain of R&D institutions, and because different component now it can be, this responsibility can be shared by ISRO with different department, with IITs and all that. So I think we now from 60s to now 2023, there's a huge, the very solid ground we have developed, and now whatever we think, we imagine, we perceive, I think it can be achievable. I think the soul of Homi Bhabha and Vikram Sarabhai will be very happy from where they have been watching us, because if you see the Vikram, the lander has been named after Vikram Sarabhai only.
Right.
So it is just paying a tribute to him also, because of the beginning which both of these legendary has made or initiated in India from at that time when we have achieved, our freedom was very new, the resources were very scanty, but only the vision of the our new leadership was there, and they have initiated, and now we are harvesting the fruit of that vision.
Absolutely, very beautifully put. We are actually harvesting the fruit of their labor, which what they did back in the day in that small hamlet. I'm again going back to that small hamlet, gentlemen, because it's important to really pay reverence and respect what happened at that small church for everybody in that village as well. Gentlemen, do hold on with us and listen into this next reaction yourselves as well, because this is the former chairman of ISRO, a latest reaction coming in from K. Sivan, the man we just saw crying, and the Prime Minister, consoling him right after Chandrayaan-2. Let's listen in what he has to say, even as we're looking at towards just hours left before Chandrayaan-3 finally successfully soft lands on the dark side of the moon. Listen into what K. Sivan had to say.
So definitely that because last time we could not achieve, because we till this phase we did very well last time also, but the landing portion only we could not achieve properly. So definitely that's what this time it's a very, very, very anxious moment. Everybody is working, looking it very anxiously for this event to happen. And I am sure that this time it will be a grand success. Not only now, that is, we have been telling from the beginning, it is a landing is a very, very complex process. So even now also we are telling that landing is a complex process. So, but nothing to do with the Russians' lander failure. But we have our own system, and we will be establishing a soft landing without any problem with our system. So, but it is a complex process. So definitely, because last time when after the landing the process, we have gone through the data what we generated in that on flight. So based on that, corrective measures have been taken, and also that is not only that one, we did something more than what we corrected. And wherever that margins are less, we enhance that margins. And at the same time, that when that sensors are not functioning, and wherever the possible appropriate redundancy is put it. So that way, this time the system is, because based on the lessons we learned from Chandrayaan-2. So this time, the system is going with more ruggedness. And so we are expecting this time it will be a success.
Well, two things, gentlemen, that I sort of figured out from this particular reaction. Number one, we all know that time heals all wounds, but it's going to take a little bit more for K. Sivan because of what happened with Chandrayaan-2. And again, a lot of hypotheses out there as to what happened with Chandrayaan-2. No clear information given by the former ISRO man, but he has said that yes, they have worked on it and that has been rectified. Group Captain, I saw you play with your moon. just now. That moon that the viewers really like, and I see that you've made some markings on it as well. I don't know if that's normal graffiti drawing by some youngster in your house, or is that your own scientific experiment. We'll have to wait for that. In the meantime, the LVM-3 M4 Chandrayaan's special dedicated X page has put out some pictures. Lunar far side area is imaged from the lander hazard detection and avoidance camera. It's called Heian, some place called Heian, a location. Boss L, I think it's a crater that's called Boss L. Then there's one that's called Mare Humboldt di Tianum, some scientific name. My apologies if I'm pronouncing it incorrectly. And then Belkovich. Any significance of these particular pictures, Group Captain?
Today morning I saw all these ISRO pictures, and we have a group of people of our batch. Today morning I sent them a very small post. I feel the imaginations, compositions of people are decreasing. Otherwise, with the increasing details of visuals coming from our beloved moon, the series of poetic prowess around the world would have emerged and grown further. I wrote to them because, till now, all the poems, all the things you hear about the moon, whether it is song, Bollywood song, or something else, it is mostly on the imaginations and the types of the rare graphics or the photograph, actual pictures of moon surface, lunar surface that is coming out from the Chandrayaan-3 cameras is phenomenal. It's phenomenal. It is giving you all that details. Yesterday when we were talking that now Chandrayaan-3 is making a pass on the moon from 25-kilometer range. And when these high definition cameras, high resolution cameras are taking the snap from 25 kilometers of the very close quarters, it is of immense use to the entire scientific community, and it is giving us the details of what all is happening. Each of this picture is a story by itself. All those craters you see, those craters are either by the volcanoes or it has been hit by something else, asteroids or comets or anything else. So all these are telling you the stories, but imaginations of the poets are something which actually doesn't have to be restricted to these visuals. And with these visuals, imaginations can only further grow. All these are there in the public domain now. And one thing that you mentioned right now, what Professor Stephen, you mentioned that what had happened with the Chandrayaan-2 is not much in the public domain. Good, it is not in the public domain. But I feel ISRO has done everything possible with the imaginations that they have in their design features, having incorporated all those features which could make the Chandrayaan-3 landing absolutely safe and soft. We are pretty sure that everything is going to happen. ISRO has done everything that can be done to make a successful soft landing.
All right.
It is only some third power or some unknown power that if it is they are not in the favor, something may go wrong. But in science, things do go wrong. In the aviation, we used to call. I have a background of aviation also, Indian Air Force.
Right.
There we used to say that if something can go wrong, it will go wrong one or other day. And you should never live to learn from your own mistakes. Learn from the others' mistakes as well. You will never live longer if you have that tendency of learning from your own. These are the two things that we learn, and that is where the cooperation comes. What you asked me, that any information that comes from the world power who have been in this direction, whether it is the US, USSR, or anyone else. So those informations on the technology, in case if it is coming, it is most welcome. And you should always have more such cooperations. And I feel very proud today that even the US, NASA, they are also cooperating with us on various issues, various things.
Absolutely.
Today,
Over the weekend, Group Captain, I've immersed myself with documentaries about the International Space Station. Trust you me, I've literally been on the International Space Station. That's how much I, binge watched the building of the International Space Station, and that's exactly, I really want India to play a major role over there as well. But before we, wrap up this trip down memory lane, and ladies and gentlemen, News 9 is going to be your destination, your headquarters after the ISRO headquarters in Bengaluru to decode, all the happenings. Of course, Group Captain Jha is going to be with us. We'll also like for, Dr. Tyagi to be with us as well. But even as we wrap this up, gentlemen, Dr. Tyagi, there are so many viewers out there who are watching this, so many youngsters who are now, आप किसी बच्चे से पूछे कि वो क्या बनना चाहता है, इंजीनियर, डॉक्टर, आजकल बहुत कम लोग बोलते हैं कि एस्ट्रोनॉट बनना है उनको. But now maybe after Chandrayaan-3, after these developments, after this big political boost to it as well, which we will touch upon, in the coming hours as well. What's your message to all the young budding astronauts out there? The word, the message from that small church in Kerala to what ISRO is achieving today. Your message, all cameras to you.
First thing, I think the latest picture of the moon, looking at those picture, very closer picture of the moon, our youngster has to change that analogy that your तुम्हारा चेहरा चांद जैसा है. If the girlfriend will be annoyed if you give this analogy, because this perception has to be changed now, because the surface of moon is not very smooth, and so this analogy has to be changed by our youngsters first. Second, space technology as such is a very interdisciplinary, emerging as a very interdisciplinary subject, where we have engineers. Now when we start this space tourism, we need space scientists with bio or you can say astro bioscientist. So I think whatever area they are studying, they should be master of that, and there will be enough scope for in future in ISRO and similar agencies, because now government is also heading towards public-private partnership. So there will be more opportunities in private sector also relating to the space industry or space tourism or space, you can say the other thing. So I think it's only don't look at like you have to be an astronaut or a space scientist. Whatever in which discipline you are, studying, I think it will have a scope to integrate with the this entire, the way the space or the space industry is emerging. So best of luck to all of you, and we all are waiting for the 23rd. Around, I think it will be
absolutely, sir. 23rd of August, 6 p.m. 4 minutes, 1804 hours, Dr. Tyagi. 6 p.m. 4 minutes. I'm expecting all of you to be here. We're of course going to be building up to that magnanimous big red letter day for India as we attempt the soft landing. Fingers crossed, hopefully a successful one. But very important points that you've made. The horizontal and vertical aspect of ISRO that Group Captain touched upon, and Dr. Tyagi, you talking about how PSLV has become our niche property, and of course, the youngsters today we're reaping the benefit of the hard work, the fruits of Homi Bhabha and Vikram Sarabhai and all those scientists at that small church. Their labor, we're actually reaping the fruits of that labor. Politics around ISRO's development, politics around space agency, what is the importance of this mission, Chandrayaan-3, all of that will come, but just want to delve a little bit on the history of India's space program. Well, on that note, Dr. Tyagi and Group Captain Jha, always a pleasure to be speaking to the both of you. Pertinent inputs and really great insights that you've lent to the viewers today and to myself as well. On the other hand, do not forget, News 9 is your one-stop shop, your destination. Like I'm joking right now, but trust you me, that's how we've been, tracking Chandrayaan. Is because this is after Bengaluru, this is your next headquarters, and I was looking at that International Space Station, documentary. You don't need passports over there. Everybody is one together. It's going to be a big letter day, not just for India, for the entire planet, because with the technology and budget that we're carrying out, this Chandrayaan-3 as well. That's all the time we have for you. But on the other side of the break, ladies and gentlemen, a little documentary, a News 9 Plus documentary, because it's important to note what's coming onto your plate. Are you worried? Do you even know where your vegetables are grown? Do you know where your produce is coming from? It could be poison on your plate as well. That's coming up right on the other side. Don't go anywhere. This is Kabir Naqvi signing off.
It can lead to these various cancers, the major cancers being stomach cancer,